Hey, this is the first overview of creating a portfolio website using Payload CMS. Payload is a JavaScript or TypeScript based headless CMS that will create an API for you and give you a nice user interface to add all your content for your website. It provides a bunch of pre-configured fields, and it is quite easy to extend by just editing or adding objects to a configuration object. So what I've done so far is I have created some branding on the back end, and I've added the different collections that I'm going to need. So when we first start up, we only have a users collection, but once you start adding collections in, they'll just automatically populate in here. I added a posts, projects, technologies, and media. Media is what holds any kind of images that you have. Your users field is what comes with the payload on a base install with basically a bare bones install, and it will allow you to have some user authentication built in. With the base install, you only get an email field, but you can define additional fields. For instance, this avatar field, which is a relationship to the media collection. And that's where this gets pretty powerful because it's so easy to define these relationships. And well, we'll get into it. You can, the thing I really like about it is that it automatically lets you do things like upload and manage the media directly from the collection, instead of having to go into here, into media, add something, and then go back to the one and associate it. You're actually able to choose from existing or, hit upload, select a file, drag and drop. So anyhow, let's go into the back end of it. So the basic config is all held in this config file called payload config. You set up a express server and just a very, very simple express server. Initialize your payload project within it. It'll connect to a Mongo database. And from there, you just define things in this build config object. So all of the customizing of the logos were done through here. So we have this meta section. You can change the title of the website. So this is basically appending this -IG lab to where it would say dashboard. I'll just show the other screen again. So up at the top, we've got our users section. If we go back to the dashboard, it's going to be dashboard. So dashboard, and then whatever you want to append it. The favicon is defined in here. Now, if you want to change anything else, such as this little logo here, or when you saw me logging in, there was a logo above the login. Those can be defined as React components. So you just import them here as a React component. It's a straight, where is it? It's a straight React component is exported and then imported into the configuration file. So the best part about this is the collection. So for instance, the users collection, well, we're going to add an object from a file here. So we got users. You define a slug, and that's how you're going to use the slug to connect sections together in the future. You are going to want to set some fields up, and you can see the fields and the documentation, but there's quite a few different fields you can use. This one, for instance, is an upload field, which allows users to upload things directly to that collection, and it relates to media, which is defined in the media collection. Again, see, we've got a slug called media. That's how it's connected to that user's one. So again, media has some fields. There's only one field I defined here, which is the alt text field. If we go to something like projects, so a project is going to have a title. It's going to have a description, which is a rich text, which just gives you an editor window instead of just a text box. And then here's an example of an actual just relationship to another collection. So what this will do is it'll just store the actual relationship to that collection. You can have a single relationship, so you can have like a one-to-one relationship, or you can have sort of a one-to-many relationship in this case, where you can define that it has many technologies. So in my case, I am going to want to have several technologies, because if we're describing even this project, already we're using Express and we're using Payload and by extension Node. And we're going to have a front end in React, probably Remix as well. So I want to be able to define all of those so that we can connect these things together. So if somebody wants to see everything that I've worked on in Remix, they can just click on Remix and pop everything up as far as projects go and as far as posts go. So that's the base idea. I think it's a pretty nice way to be able to define how a backend looks. So far I'm really enjoying Payload. I've done a lot of websites in the past in WordPress, and while it is a great piece of software, I do really like the ease of just defining things as objects here with 4 lines of code. For the most part, we can have a new collection and just start using it. So I will continue on to the next thing, which is going to be shaping what kind of API returns I get, and I'll do an overview of that next.